Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, ahead of elections in Zambia, more reports of violence between rival camps prompt calls for voter calm in the midst of a tense race. President Edgar Lungu is hoping to keep hold of the office he took over only last year. Also, upcoming elections in DR Congo continue to cause trouble. Human Rights Watch is up in arms after one of its researchers is refused a visa with no word as to why. Ida Sawyer's bosses accuse Kinshasa of trying to muzzle reports on protest crackdowns. And warmth, water and writing. The first beach library in Morocco is back. Once again, a boat of books has sailed into the resort of El Jadida, tempting visitors to get away with a good tale. But first, ahead of Zambia's presidential elections on Thursday, both candidates, President Edgar Lungu of the Patriotic Front and his opponent heighten of the UPND, have called for calm. On Monday, supporters of the PF attacked a rival campaign bus in Lusaka. Last month, election-related unrest prompted the Electoral Commission to suspend campaigning in the capital for 10 days. Now, tensions and stakes are high. Lungu's battling to keep the post he took over only last year. Meanwhile, Hichilema has run for the top job several times.
This is the fifth presidential election in Zambia in 10 years. And each time, this man raises hopes for change for millions of voters. Hakainde Hichilema runs for presidency for the fifth time in his life. This very wealthy businessman is an old hand on the political scene. But he says that this year's campaign was particularly difficult.
The campaign has been rough, especially the fact that the government has been denying us our right, to assemble. That is not fair. And secondly, the violence. Some of our people are beaten and killed for wearing just T-shirts, all our regalia. That's unacceptable.
Militants of the opposition regularly clash with partisans of President Edgar Lungu. During this campaign, press freedom hit new lows. The independent newspaper The Post has been closed. Authorities say the company has not paid their taxes. But this journalist, who has been arrested, thinks the regime just does not like being criticized. Now they work in hiding.
We are not only hiding where the newsroom is, we are hiding where the printing is done. We are also hiding where the designing of the newspaper is done. We are also hiding where, the vendors are.
The police want to avoid that this very contested election gets out of hand. Their troops have started performing against political violence.
Peace in our nation and peace in our hearts. So we are saying no to violence.
Since we started, we have seen the decrease in the number of political violence instances.
These troops could be deployed for several months. If no candidate wins with an outright majority, a second round will take place. Tensions might then only increase.
Now, Human Rights Watch accused Kinshasa of trying to muzzle reports of police crackdowns after it refused to renew the visa of one of the rights group's researchers. Ida Sawyer's worked in DRC since 2008 and had been due to leave on Tuesday anyway. The government hasn't given a reason for its decision. Now, tensions have spiked around upcoming elections. Thomas Nicolon has more on fears that the vote may be postponed.
Every day in DR Congo, the presidential election seems to be moving further away. Yesterday, various NGOs asked the UN mission in DR Congo to stop supporting the National Electoral Commission. Why? Because according to these NGOs, the National Electoral Commission is violating Resolution 2277 from the UN. That resolution says that the National Electoral Commission is supposed to deliver a complete electoral schedule on time. And according to these NGOs, it hasn't done that yet. But at the UN, people remind that the UN is in Congo to help and not to replace anything or anyone.
The UN are here to assist and support. The aim is not to stand in for Congolese institutions. We assist the Electoral Commission while making sure that if there's an election or when there's an election, the process should be credible enough so that the election helps consolidate democracy and stability in DR Congo.
According to the Congolese constitution, the National Electoral Commission is supposed to announce the new presidential election 90 days before the end of the president's mandate. That would be the 19th of September 2016. But the only problem is the National Electoral Commission just started the enrollment of voters on July 31, and that process is supposed to take around 11 months. It is hard to believe that the presidential election will be held at the end of November as it is supposed to be held, and the opposition here is still convinced that Joseph Kabila wants to remain in power after the end of his second mandate.
Thomas Nicolon there for us in Kinshasa. Well, as all the action is happening in Rio, we're taking some time now to have a look at how African athletes are doing at the Olympics. Nicolas Chemin is getting us up to speed.
There's a second medal for the African continent. Once again, it comes thanks to a South African swimmer. This time it's Chad Leclos who won silver in the 200 metres freestyle. A little earlier, his compatriot Cameron Vanderberg, he won silver also in the 100 metres breaststroke. And there's also a Nigerian, Aruna Quadri, who's made sporting history. He becomes the first African ever to reach the quarterfinals of an Olympics in the men's singles table tennis. And to do this, he beat one of the favourites, the former world #1, Timo Boll from Germany. And there's one story that has been much discussed on social media. It's the beach volleyball game between Egypt and Germany. The players wearing very different gear. The Germans wearing bikinis, the Egyptians fully clothed, one of the players wearing a hijab. Some people saying on Twitter that this was a major culture clash, but many positive comments, people saying this shows the unifying nature of sport. One person tweeted, I quote, "This is why we do the Olympics."
Yeah, I was a bit surprised that there was such a hoo-ha about it, to be honest. But besides all the positive stories coming out of the games, there have also been some less positive tales. I understand that you have some concern about some of the corruption that's been alleged.
Yes, absolutely. Michael Rotich is in trouble. He's the Kenya's track and field team manager. He's been sent back from Rio to Kenya, where he appeared in court today. He was caught telling undercover reporters from the Sunday Times, posing as coaches, that he would warn them of doping tests in advance for their athletes. He said he would do this in exchange for $13,000. Another story that made the headlines was the arrest of the Namibian boxer Jonas Junius. He's accused of trying to sexually assault a maid in the Olympics village. And of course, this news comes just a few days after the arrest of the Moroccan boxer Hassan Sada, who was also accused of sexually assaulting 2 women in Rio. A Brazilian judge has ordered Hassan Sada to remain in detention for 2 weeks while the investigation is carried out.
And of course, Iron Africa will be following the progress of the continent's athletes throughout the time of the Games. Well, finally, the first beach library in Morocco is back for the 3rd year running. A boat of books has appeared at the resort town of El Jadida, tempting visitors to float away with a good tale. Have a look.
Summer holidays at the resort of El Jadida in northwest Morocco. This is by far the most popular beach of the area. A strange ship has docked among the parasols, which curious bathers discover is filled with books that they can take to read. The vessel of beach books is run by Abdella Slimani, who works at the city library. He says it's a way of getting people into reading.
We want to encourage reading by going straight to the public and not wait for them to come to the library. We're trying to attract them with the system of a library concept. The boat makes them curious. Then they come and they find the books. At first they hesitate, but then they get more into it. They pick up books, flip through them, and then they're hooked.
Here there are novels, cookbooks, travel guides, books on science, collections of poems, even comics. There's something for everyone.
I'm interested in anything scientific. I picked up this book, which is called The Composition of Atmosphere. When I heard that there was a library at El Jadida, I convinced my parents to bring me here.
Events with authors have also been organised. Fans can meet their favourite writers while they enjoy some reading time at the waterfront.
I always love promoting books in places where people are going about their normal daily lives. It's really great to be here, where people are swimming, where they are just enjoying their holidays.
This is the third year for the El Jadida Beach Library experiment. Organisers hope that its success will mean they can take the project to other beaches across Morocco next summer.
That's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us. Take care.